Dicsérsék Jézus Krisztus! A Szentföldi Megbízottak Jeruzsálemi konferenciájának mai napján ellátogattunk a Terra Sancta Múzeumba is, amely a flagelláció kápolnájánál helyezkedik el. Most készülnek a komisszáriusok a túravezetésre.
Somebody has seen the old museum, which was before very different in the presentation, but the concept is the same. To have for each main excavations in a church or shrine of the Holy Land, a room for itself. So what cannot be seen in place, because there is no possibility to have a museum everywhere, will be seen here. Also some precious things were collected only in Jerusalem. And the fragments are small and broken, but they give a very good idea of the art, because you see not replicas like this one, but you see authentic and original items. And you can discuss very much what it was represented, because the images are broken. So you have to think, to imagine many things. So here it's very difficult to see, but you have maybe a religious figure and some demons, evil incarnated. So here we have the image of Saint Peter, who is dealing with the widow in Jaffa, Tabitha. And the same scene is also there on the capital of Saint Peter. It means here, in the house of St. Peter, there is something really very important, which is not shown on the place. So you have to come here to see. In this place was found the octagonal church, and the excavation was made because were found many weights for the nets. And how many times the gospel is speaking about the nets, that the apostles were working with the nets to catch the fishes. So it is very important to have found that. But this doesn't say anything about the owner of the house. But this we can know from the other displays, because this house in the 4th century was renovated completely. The walls were plastered and painted with flowers, like a garden, flowers, full of flowers. And the pilgrims that came there, like Egeria, they left inscriptions over the plaster. The plaster was found, almost all found broken and mixed up with the dirt of the soil. And so it was collected like that in fragments. Sometimes the fragment can still be put together, sometimes not. So anyway, some of the fragments have inscriptions, and the inscriptions are prayers. What that means? Prayers, it means there are not inscriptions by somebody dwellers living in their house, but they are from pilgrims that come there to pray. It is the only place. So only here we have the proof that it was a holy place. Only here. And what is written? 2 lions. According to the decoration in mosaic, which is found in most synagogues, the 2 lions were put one on the side and one on the other side of the ark, holy ark, where the Torah scroll was preserved inside it. So the 2 lions are very typical of the synagogue. You don't find that in the churches, only in synagogues. These fragments were discovered little by little, one by Gaudenzio Orfali, the other by Israeli archaeologists, Sukenik, and so on. But they were always left aside because they were so broken. A very big problem, because no text in the Gospel or in the letters says Tabor. It says that it was a very high mountain, but Tabor was a very well-known place. And also there was a city on the top of Mount Tabor in that time. Yeah, it was a Roman city. Flavio Giuseppe speaks about the damage also we found pottery from the Roman times. So it is a very questionable thing. Somebody of the ancient authors think Mount Hermon will be a better place. Yes. It is on the border of Syria, Lebanon, and Israel. So was. And this was saved some way. It was saved the head of an angel, but the head of Christ is destroyed. This should be the head of Christ. So you see Christ seated too, not later. So it means very early. The problem or the good of this excavation that there are something which can possibly belong to the first Christians in Jerusalem, because there are signs which can be discussed as belonging to Christianity. What are these signs? First, the names. The names are the names which are used in the Gospel. You will see the name of Jesus, the name of Mariam, which is the name of the Kyrenaios, Syrian, like the one in the Via Dolorosa. But this is Simon, this is Philon, different. And you see Judah, which is a proselyte. This proselyte is one of the elements which can belong to Christianity, because proselytes, there were Jewish proselytes made everywhere in the world, because the Jewish religion was considered a very good religion by everybody in the time, because one God, it was appreciated very much. So in the cemetery of Dominus Flavius we have 5 proselytes. 3 of them have Greek names, and 2 of them have Jewish names. One is named Judah, and the other Salome. And they are Jewish names. So this seems impossible that Jewish people can be called proselyte.
Father, I have a question.
It is something which people are expressing. It is a sign of the cross or not? This is the discussion which is open. Okay. Also, we have another sign which can be considered a Christian. It is the same ossuary of the Judas, the proselyte. You see, you can recognize the Christian monogram, the hero, which is still used today very much by Christians as a symbol of Christ. Museum. But many people, mostly pilgrims, they ask to see that. Where you have something from the time of Jesus? We have in Capernaum, we have, but here you can see more of it. So in the first display under the glass, you have tools of different kinds of works, like the work of Saint Joseph, of the apostles, the fishermen, but also textiles, and also the writing material. You see papyrus, and you see the inkwells, so, and the soldiers. And, so this is works. Then you have the marketplace. Marketplace, we put weights and coins. The coins are mostly those which are mentioned in the Holy Gospel. Number 1 is this is the second. Yes. Number 1 is the widow's mites. It means the smaller coins in that time. But for Jesus, they were very important. Like
Which one?
is the number 1. Number 1. You see, it's really is very small.
Bronze.
Bronze, yes. We succeeded also in having how they were made, because you see a stone with the imprint of each one, so and it's very clear how they were made. They were coins with very little value, but anyway, they are real coins. There is the name of the kings on it. There is the name of Herod on one, and the name of Alexander Yannai on the other. Then number two is the coins of the Roman procurators, which are made according to the local tradition, not according to the coin tradition of Rome. It's different. We have also many coins from Rome, but this is not Roman coins. These are local coins done by the governors, Roman governors. Then we have silver coins. The smaller one, number 3, this is the denarius with the image of the emperor, with the inscription, with the name of the emperor. You remember the discussion of Jesus about the image and to give to God what is God's and to give to the emperor what is the emperor's. So that's number.
Adrian, who found me in ruins around 60 years later. Seeing me so devastated, he decided to build me anew as a Roman colony. Here, we can identify the stones he used to cover the pool with a big square. We still have the remains of a small altar, a stone bench, and the pedestal on a column. As you can see, this is a Muslim. These important remains came to light around a century ago, right here, and ever since have been preserved by the fathers of the Studio Biblical Franciscan, especially for you, so that you could get to know me better. I am Jerusalem, a city shaped by the passing of time, entwined with the traces of history.
Herod the Great, an Idumean, ruled over the Jews from 35 BC to 4 BC by being both clever and cruel, and by leaning on the power of the Romans. He wanted to be remembered forever, and therefore built many great cities and buildings, like his personal palace in Jerusalem. But the project he expected to give him most fame was the rebuilding of the temple and the construction of the nearby Antonia fortress, located on its northern side. The fortress was next to the Struthian pool and its steps. Tradition holds that Jesus was judged and sentenced in the Antonia fortress. This is why pilgrims start walking the way of the cross from this place.
The chief priests and elders brought Jesus in front of Pilate and accused him of claiming to be a king, affronting the emperor's power. Pilate brought Jesus out and sat on the judgment seat at a place called the Pavement, but in Hebrew, Gabbatha. And he said to them, "Behold your king." They cried out, take him away, crucify him." So they took Jesus, and carrying the cross himself, he went out to what was called the place of the skull, in Hebrew, Golgotha.
At the time of Herod the Great, Golgotha was located outside the city walls. The area resembled an abandoned stone quarry and was used as a burial ground. Here, public executions were performed, such as the crucifixion. Nearby, Joseph of Arimathea had purchased a new tomb where Jesus was buried, the Holy Sepulchre, which was later celebrated by building a big church. In 70 AD, the Jews' great revolt brought about the invasion by the Roman army led by Titus, son of Vespasian, who was about to become emperor. With the support of the 10th Legion Cretensis and after a protracted siege, Titus conquered Jerusalem, starting with the Antonia fortress. He then went on to systematically destroy the city. In 128 AD, another Roman emperor, Aelius Hadrianus, came to Jerusalem and found the city devastated except for a few houses. This is when he decided to establish a new colony based on the usual orthogonal grid plan, calling it Aelia Capitolina, after his name. The city was built around a monumental cargo, the main north-south oriented street starting at the Damascus Gate and crossing the whole city. The Roman Forum and the Capitolium, the main Roman temple, were erected to the west of the Cardo on Golgotha and the Holy Sepulchre area. As a result, this was now in the very center of the new city. Golgotha and the Sepulchre were covered by the foundation of the new temple. Fortress, next to where you are now, was covered by Hadrian to create a paved square. Remains of the Roman paving, the Hospitus, are preserved here, while the pool is right under your feet. Hadrian raised a three-arched gate, known today as the Ecce Homo Arch. In 313 AD, the Roman Emperor Constantine granted Christians the right to practice their religion. He had the pagan temple destroyed in order to build a great basilica. It was the first Christian basilica in Jerusalem.
I have no greater care than how I may best adorn with a splendid structure that sacred spot which I have disencumbered, as it were, of the heavy weight of foul idol worship. May the church surpass all others whatsoever in beauty.
The basilica was inaugurated in 336. It was composed of the Materium, a big five-nave basilica, the Triporticus, a hall containing the rock of the crucifixion or Calvary, and the Anastasis, with the empty tomb of Jesus. Under Constantine's successors, Aelia Capitolina was filled up with many more Christian sanctuaries. The Constantinian Basilica, St. Mary of the Probatica, Holy Mary of Zion, Nia Church, St. Sophia, St. Peter and Gallicantu, and the Church of Siloam. This is when Jerusalem gained the title of Holy City among Christians. 3 centuries later, in 614, the city was destroyed again by the army of the Persian Empire. However, it was subsequently retaken by the Byzantine Emperor Heraclius, who also regained the relic of the true cross previously stolen by the Persians. Heraclius invested great effort in rebuilding many of the churches destroyed by the Persians. The army of Caliph Umar conquered Jerusalem in 638 with no significant changes in the holy places. But the city was enriched by 2 remarkable mosques, the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque. In those times, Muslims, Christians, and Jews lived together in the Holy City for more than 3 centuries. In 1009, Caliph Al-Hakim ordered the Basilica of the Holy Sepulchre to be completely destroyed. The same fate befell many other places of worship.
Hakim wrote in Syria to Baruch, who was in Ramleh, for him to demolish the Church of the Resurrection so that no trace of it would remain.
Concern for the holy places in Europe led to the desire of revenge and the will to reconquer Jerusalem and make pilgrimages possible again. The Christian rulers joined the First Crusade launched by Pope Urban II. Led by Godfrey of Bouillon, the Crusaders entered Jerusalem in 1099 with considerable bloodshed. The Latin kingdom of Jerusalem lasted only 88 years, but in this period its face was changed by the construction of many new holy buildings. The Holy Sepulchre and the Hospital of St. John, the Curia Regis, the Temple of the Lord inside the Dome of the Rock, and many others. Since then, Jerusalem experienced many changes in its rulers who enriched the city with various buildings, but its city plan remained substantially unchanged, apart from the walls that were built in 1540 by Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. These are the walls still surrounding the old city today. Little by little, starting in the 14th century, the tradition of the Via Dolorosa developed, and pilgrims walk it to this day and identify themselves with the Passion of Christ. The Way of the Cross is made up of 14 stations, from the Praetorium in the Antonia Fortress to the Holy Sepulchre. Jesus is condemned to death. He carries his cross. He falls for the first time. He meets his beloved Mother Mary. Simon of Cyrene helps him to carry the cross. Veronica wipes his face. Jesus falls for a second time. The women of Jerusalem cry for him. He falls a third time. His clothes are taken away on the Calvary. He is nailed to a cross, and he dies on the cross. The body of Jesus is taken down from the cross and anointed with perfumed oils, and he is laid in a nearby sepulchre from which he will be resurrected on the third day.
They come to us from all times and invite us to follow them in the sorrowful path. It's time to go now.
And it seemed to me that in the sweet harmony of our souls responds the echo of all the souls who over centuries have come back to pray. Souls of apostles, of knights, of saints.
And when this message is revealed, there's so great an agreement between all the people together that their lamentation may be heard.
Direction to the temple, which is called Dolorosa. From there came our Lord Jesus Christ when he was taken to Mount Calvary to be crucified. For this reason, it is called Dolorosa Gate.
Itt állunk a régi Antónia erőd épülete mellett, a megostorozás temploma is, illetve megostorozás helye is itt van. Itt ítélte el Pilátus Jézus Krisztust. A ferencesek egy keresztény régészeti múzeumot létesítettek, és Eugenio Alliata atya vezetésével megtekintettük azokat a régészeti leleteket, amiket a ferences atyák találtak az ásatásaik során, mind Jeruzsálemben, mind pedig a Szentföldön.